Ready? Welcome to Moody News. And we're back with part 2 of the amazing stylist Carl Pluka's Q&A. Enjoy the rest of his questions. Who are your 5 favourite designers?
Well, I can't answer that question.
I know there's probably too many.
Because, but no, it just goes. It goes in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I get impressed. I mean, people are kind of on your radar and then not on your radar. I have to say, I'm incredibly impressed. I can't remember his name, so I'm not very good with names. But this young boy who's at Balmain. And I just saw the show. Obviously I'm not in Paris yet, but the show was yesterday, and he's the show is incredible. It's such an accomplished collection for any designer, of any age, and he comes out at the end of it and he just looks about 10. No, he looks about 22, fresh faced, good looking, stylish. Beautiful, actually, because Julian met him in Mykonos this summer. And I'm just like, God, you're so what an incredible career you've got ahead of you. I'm so impressed. I'm impressed by him at the moment. I think he's incredible. I'm impressed by Nicolas Ghesquière at Balenciaga because he just doesn't. He never ever misses a beat. He never ever does anything wrong. He never puts a foot wrong. The guy just can't do anything wrong. Desperate to see Hedi Slimane, what he does for Yves Saint Laurent, which is on Sunday night. That's obviously the hottest ticket in Paris because Raf Simons is doing Dior.
Yeah.
But he's already done couture, so he's already done his first show for them. So we're not as excited about that as we are about Hedi. Hedi is the ticket of the season. That's the one. That's the one everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be. I think we're all going to be going to Yves Saint Laurent, and we're all going to be bankrupted by Hedi being at Yves Saint Laurent. It's going to just be amazing. No?
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's going to be incredible. I mean, for me personally, I tend to wear, most designer-wise, I tend to wear Balmain now because some of it's a bit young for me, but I do love a lot of the more classic pieces. I wear a lot of Lanvin and I wear Yves Saint Laurent. Because it's aesthetically I like them all, but also they just I can't wear a lot of designers because I'm too short, but their clothes are cut quite well for my body shape, so that's why I wear them really. And designer wise, it just goes in and out. I have to say what I did love, and I do love him, and he's a milliner, not a fashion designer. Is Philip Treacy's show for Fashion Week. London Fashion Week was incredible. It was brilliant, and he worked with the stylist Katie England, who's a genius, and none of us knew anything. In fact, it was like going to one of those old McQueen shows back in the day when it was like in a big old lofty cathedral, and it was like 9 o'clock at night, and like the people were fabulous, and Isabella Blow was there, and all the incredible. And so Izzy's dead, and when I got to the Royal Courts of Justice, which is a big old lofty like castle like room on the Strand, I got there and it was 9 o'clock at night, and there's all the fabulous people there, like Brian Ferry and Grace Jones and like so many people, and it's like a massive queue to get in. It's like hundreds of people pushing and shoving and biting and scratching, and like the old days. Fashion shows are so genteel these days. They're not like the big old bun fights they used to be. And so I get in and I get to my front row seat, and I'm opposite Grace, which was like, I don't know whether to watch the wrong way or her.
She's equally as fascinating.
And it was just like I felt like I could see Isabella out of the corner in my peripheral vision, because quite a few people had hats on that she would have worn, like the lace mask with the feathers, and it was quite. I felt like she was wafting around the rafters in approval, and Lady Gaga introduced the show, which kind of was unnecessary in some respects, but also was great because she came out in a kind of pink chiffon burqa, and explained that none of us knew this, that the show was going to be featuring the original stage costumes of Michael Jackson. And then they just played, I can't remember what the first track was, but it was full on. It was like the one, Wanna Be Starting Something. And every single model was a black girl. And the clothes were, what Katie had done was Philip had done the hats based on Michael Jackson's life, and they were incredible. And then you had, some of them covered the whole body and just flashed with lights, because he worked with that guy that worked with Hussein Chalayan, I can't remember his name, who did all the light stuff with Hussein. And I think what she did was she just had, so that there'd be like one of the military jackets, but then she'd have like a tailored McQueen trouser with it, because obviously the trousers didn't always work. And then some of the trousers were what Michael wore, and they were like bondage trousers with straps like that all down the leg and like D-rings through the crotch, and it was like incredible. When you saw the costumes, it was amazing. And then the Thriller jacket came out on Rec, and then it was like one of those moments where you're like, I'm so happy to be in this job. This is a moment. It was incredible. That was the most exciting thing I saw.
Wow.
And just be like, you know, the connection between Philip and Katie and the auctioneers that had all the clothes, the fact they let them use them is just incredible. I mean, they're quite fragile, some of them. So that was amazing. That was incredible. That was a fashion moment.
No, totally. I wish I'd been there.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, so we had to stop before because Carl actually had to leave and go off to catch the Eurostar to Paris for the shows. So we're now back a few weeks later. We've assumed normal positions.
I'm in my French top.
Carl's in his French
which
top.
I had on before.
Yes, but he's now got a hat on.
But it is Yves Saint Laurent.
Of course, darling. I'm in the same shit, so which is fine.
We tried to pretend it was the same
time, and then we actually realised we can't do that. So it's fine. So I'm gonna pick up where we left off, which was actually about Carl's favourite music, and he said that he found it difficult to say what his favourite 10 songs were. So really, Carl was saying that he uses music more as a background thing. So which I guess is really how you feel about music, isn't it? It doesn't.
Barry White.
Barry White.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really hard to talk about music because I'm not an authority on it. I know what I like. But I find the 10 favourite songs thing quite difficult.
Well, can we then move on to your 10 favourite films? Because I know that you are a big lover of
Yeah, I'm definitely
films.
Into film. Yeah.
So actually, it's not 10, it's 5.
Right, okay.
You only need to name 5.
So do you want me to talk about the films, or do you want me to just list them?
Well, a bit of both if you want. It's up to you. If you feel like you want to elaborate on why you like the film, go ahead.
Okay. Well, another very difficult question for me, because there's so many things that I like, and I'm also someone who I'm quite emotional about film. So I have to be in the right mood to watch a certain type of film, whether I've seen it before or whether I've seen it 10 times or whether I've never seen it, and it's the type of genre or director that I'm into. You know, sometimes you just want to watch a shit film on a plane, because it's easy to follow. But film's really important to me, and I've thought about this question, and when I look back on the 5 films that are very important and stand out, they're probably films that I saw when I was younger, and they're films that I watch again and again and again, and they're also films that are quite stylish. They have a style element to them, not necessarily the clothes or the wardrobe. It could be it could be how they're shot. It could be other ways of being a stylish film. It could be it could be the way the actors are, the way they speak, the way they look, and so one of the first films that I ever saw that affected me in a kind of very sort of visual way was a film by Neil Jordan, who's one of my favourite directors, called Company of Wolves. And I saw it when I was about 14, so it would be in the mid-80s, and it's basically about the sexual awakening of a young girl, and played by this unknown actress who was so beautiful. And it's basically the story of Red Riding Hood, but it's very dark, it's very visceral, it's very, it's terrifying and it's violent, but it's also mesmerising and warm and cosy. So it's kind of just like a fairy tale is, but it's obviously an adult version. and it's just an amazing film, and it's just very inspiring, and it's not very well known, and it's definitely one to, something.
He's the guy who did The Crying Game, isn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's done loads of. He's done. I think he's a bit unsung in a way, because he did this amazing film called Breakfast on Pluto that no one really picked up on, but it was just such an amazing film, and it's in The Company of Wolves. There's also there's a lot of there must have been some money behind it, because there's like very pioneering special effects. There's lots of sort of transformations of people into animals, and then there's a really surreal. It's very sort of fragmented, where you've got like and it's very metaphorical. So you'll have a girl who's coming into puberty, climbing a tree and finding a nest and a stork flying off, and then little eggs in the nest that crack open, and they're little babies, human babies inside, and then there's there's the predator, which is the man, which is which is the threat to her virginity, and it's just a really beautiful film. It's got Angela Lansbury in it. It's got I can't remember who else is in it, but it's just fantastic, and and I watch that probably once a year, on my own when I feel like it.
Yeah.
And then the second film, because I was really into horror films when I was a kid, and I think everyone who saw The Exorcist, I mean, I was banned from seeing it because my mum saw it at the movies when it came out, and she knew that it was something I shouldn't see. But when we first got our first Betamax video recorder, a friend and I somehow persuaded the woman in the video library, who obviously didn't know what it was, to hire it to us, even though it was an X certificate, and we watched it, and we really wished we hadn't. But I've watched that film a lot, and I've read the book, and I love William Friedkin, the director, who just did another brilliant film called Killer Joe, and it's just an amazing film. It's just like, it's really groundbreaking, that film, and affecting, and it still has the same effect on me now as when I first saw it. The third film, which is obviously a very style-led choice, is Peter Greenaway's The Cook, the Thief, the Wife and His Lover, which is so great on so many levels. And I watched it again recently, because when I saw that film, and I think I must have been about 18 or 19, and I was really into fashion, getting into fashion, and I was really into Gaultier and all those sort of French sort of avant-garde designers, and he did the costumes for the film, and it's just shocking when you see it now. I mean, it's just so brilliant and so shocking and so visceral, and Helen Mirren having sex with someone in the back of a meat van with rotting flesh and crotchless knickers, and then walking into another room, and everything changes colour, and she's got everything becomes white in the bathroom, everything's red in the restaurant, and and it's such an incredible piece of film in so many ways, and what I've realised is, over the years, all the layers unpeel, and you end up appreciating it for many different things. I was watching it recently, and the soundtrack or the music score, I think it's more, you'd call it more that, is by Michael Nyman, and he's worked with Peter Greenaway on most of his films, and it's just so brilliant and so beautiful, and the choir boys singing, and even the violence in it is beautiful, and it's definitely really important, that film, to me. And I remember watching other movies that Peter Greenaway had done before that, when I'd seen that film, and I didn't understand them, and they were too grown up for me at the time, because I could there's a very basic gangster sort of, almost like sort of the Sweeney element to The Cook, but they're all like they're all very chic, and the film's very stylish. But I watched The Draftsman's Contract, and which is a movie I watched again probably a couple of years ago, and when I watched it when I was like 19, I just didn't get it. It was like completely over my head. And then when I watched it recently, a couple of years ago, I just completely I just loved it, and I thought it was amazing. And Prospero's books, and I just think Peter Greenaway is a really important director to me. And then thirdly, I'd say Withnail and I, because that's another film. That's another film I just love on every level. I love Bruce Robinson, is an amazing, unsung hero. Never really did so much because, I don't know why. I mean, he never got so much funding to do other great things. And this is a really low budget film. It has the most amazing script. It's a script that, we all, everybody I know who's into it and can recite off by heart, because we've all seen it 150 times. But for me, the most brilliant thing, and also the acting in it, Richard E. Grant is just amazing. Richard Griffiths. But for me, I mean, I just love the person. I think I've looked at the credits. It's some like woman who's no one's ever heard of. The person who did the wardrobe in it is just incredible because they've really looked into the script and the characters. And you know, I just love the way they. I mean, I've actually done fashion stories and I've used elements from the styling of the film in my shoots. Like I did a shoot with Donald Christie for ID years ago, and I put bags over the plastic bags over the boys' shoes with the, you know, because it was really muddy, but also it just looks so great. And and I love the fact that Withnail, who's a very tragic character but a very amazing character, beautiful character, has this kind of Edwardian greatcoat that looks like something he's stolen from the costume department at RADA or wherever they both were at you know, at drama school, because they're both obviously failed actors. And I just love the fact that he's stolen clothes, but they never mention that he has. But that's what I got from it, because he's got all these Victorian and Edwardian and sort of dandy clothes. That's the only reason I can think of why he'd actually be wearing them.
Yeah.
And so that film, amazing. And it's also about how people grow apart, and it's very painful. And I think as you get older, you realise that that's what does happen with a lot of your relationships. It's very important, that film. And how many is that?
3 or 4.
We didn't want one more. What would be one more? One more film. Oh yeah, definitely this film. And this is a film that I will never ever get bored of, and I watch it at least 4 or 5 times a year. And I love when they make successful plays that I love into films. So I love Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, because it's just amazing, and it's Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor actually acting out their marital breakdown.
I was going to say,
but they're but not doing it because the writer Edward Albee has created the characters because for them to act. It was written completely independently of that. And it's the first time a Hollywood actress, let herself be seen in a very ugly way, fat, dishevelled, alcoholic. It was kitchen sink drama, Hollywood style, and it looks like it's filmed in one take, because it's actually, the whole play goes through. It's like a harrowing nightmare that goes through the night until the morning, when they end up cuddling in a windowsill. With the sun coming up, and it feels like it's almost done in one take. I read about it, and I think it took 3 weeks to make. But you'd never know. It's completely seamless, and it's how brilliant the actors are, because they never lose, the thread of where they are in the series of events. And Elizabeth, I watched this thing with because Elizabeth Taylor's body language in it is so genius. The way she's just so slutty and bawdy. And I watched this interview with Sharon Stone saying that Elizabeth Taylor in that film is just the most mind-blowing, kind of masterclass for any actress who wants to play that kind of character, because she owns her body, she owns the way she moves, and the way she's just so confident and so clever, and such a brilliant actress. And and I love the way that Sharon Stone mention that, because when you watch the film again and you see how she is as this person, it's kind of terrifying, but brilliant and amazing. And I've seen it on stage with other actresses, and no one nailed it like her.
I was just about to say, have you seen it on stage?
I saw it on stage with...
Is there anyone you liked who played it?
Kathleen Turner. But she was okay. But there's this one scene in the movie, which is one of my favourite... line in the movie. And I think in real life, I think Burton and Taylor weren't getting on. They're both alcoholic, deaf for sure, when they made that film. And you kind of know that the drinks they're drinking are real. Yeah. And they're not tea with ice in it. And basically there's this one bit where, and obviously his character, he's the failed schoolmaster who's got the job because of her father, who's the head of the school. She's the alcoholic wife, who's who's the one who wears the trousers, and they've got this fake made-up son. It's just twisted on so many levels. And she wears the trousers. She wore the trousers in real life because she was the biggest star. And there's this one scene where he knocks over a bottle of scotch, And she goes, "You can't afford to waste good liquor, not on your salary." And it's so sad because it's so violent. And because you feel like she really means it. And because he never made the money she made as well. And she used to give him money to buy her diamonds.
Right.
So when Kathleen Turner said that line in the play, she just went, you can't afford to waste good looking on your salary. Like she was rushing through it, and it was just like, no, it wasn't the same. So so that was one of my other favourite films, and that's probably 5.
Cool. Okay, one more question, which is a really quick, simple one. You might have to have a think about it. Can you describe yourself in one word?
Come.
There you go, the end.
No, I think you should actually do. Well, I'll say.
What do you want me to think of a word for?
No, I think you should do like the Actors Studio where they say, it goes, "What's your favourite curse word?" And the English actors always go "fucking cunt" and they leave it out, and the American ones go, "Oh shit." Or but I'd say one word. I could say enigmatic, but I think hopeful because I have my dark moments, but I'm actually quite positive at the end. That gets me through. I work hard. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because I always feel like the best is yet to come. And I think we have to feel like that, otherwise, what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can follow me on @CarlPluker.
Carl's Twitter @CarlPluker. I follow it. You should follow it.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
You knocked my hat off.
Oh, sorry. So that's the end of Carl Pluker's Part 2 Q&A. Thanks, Carl, for your lovely answers to the questions, and we'll be back really soon with another Q&A video with someone very special.